Why, hello there. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, comrades of all ages, my name is Mr. Doggo333, and welcome back to Hearts of Iron 4, The New Order, The Ruin. As the Ukrainian Socialist Soviet Republic. Well, last video, we started working on getting rid of the underworld, restoring like some vague semblance of a healthcare system, only slightly worse than the American system. And now we're restoring Ukrainianization. National Ukrainianization with Russian minority laws thrown in. Because that probably seems like a good idea to just cover our asses, just in case. Our economic situation continues to become worse. Yeah. It was a miserable day. The overcast clouds darkened the woods, threatening to rain again as the air grew colder. A sharp wind cut through the even coats, and muck and mud clung to boots and clothes. Bodon observed a soldier from within these woods, watching as he stumbled upon the torn-up road. He didn't know where the soldier had come from, but it was unmistakably a German. Their uniforms were easy to identify, even though it was torn and grime that covered it. The man was in poor shape. His movements were sluggish, his feet dragged, and his back slouched. He held one arm gingerly with no weapon to be seen. The young soldier was young, thin, and small, and with sandy hair. Maybe a boy from the invading settlements, maybe a conscript from Germany itself. It didn't matter. Bodon watched silently with his own rifle in hand. He heard the voice of his commander, as clear as the day before his first battle. When the enemy is in your sights, you will not hesitate. You will kill them, unless you want them to do the same to you. The soldier fell back to the ground with a scream, writhing in agony from the shot to the back. And the shot rang out, and the soldier went still. Bodon only loaded a rifle once he was sure the man was dead. He remembered how he had felt when he killed his first German. Elation, pride, satisfaction. He felt none of that now, only a cold dispassion. One more German was dead, but there were thousands remaining. A drop in the bucket, but every drop counted. He stripped the body of what little it had, and once more vanished into the woods. It will not be the last German who'd meet such a fate. Well, what do we need? What do you want, Michael? I gotta play GTA 5 again. GTA 6 was announced, I know, but I think it would be good to play, I was planning to play GTA 6 on the for the channel actually, but I just didn't. Let me know, either the YouTube or Twitch people, if you want to see me play GTA 5. So I think I'd like to. Nope. We got a new piece of bread. Hold on. In the chaotic days of 1917, Lenin promised the people of Russia three simple things: peace, bread, and land. We have reclaimed our land from German oppressors and given it back to the people. And now the primary desires left for the minds of the people are peace from the unending violence that has become commonplace in Ukraine, and food readily available on their tables. If we claim to be representatives of the people, it is our duty to focus on these two matters above all else. Just cut down on the fucking poverty, Jesus. Well, there's her spear. Tomskin, Central Siberia. German intervention in Africa. Yeah. Speaking of Africa, how's it looking? Not the best, I'll be honest. I'm always kind of impressed how it seems like nowadays Spear come back from century yet. And like I said, I didn't do anything to change that. Also, Canada owns all this now. It's just very funny to me. Maybe it won't really be that bad for us. True, they're only cool. Prosperity Spear. Okay, yeah. So another L for OFN. Although, like, it's kind of going both ways, honestly. I'd probably... That's pretty good, actually. Is it? Yeah, I mean, it's not horrible. I mean, they're losing over here. They're doing okay up here. I guess in, like, recent times. Mother? Antonia turned from her seat at the window when at her son's voice. Marcus had entered the room, seeming a bit restless and uncomfortable at disturbing her. Even at 7 years old, he still hesitated about asking her for something. She smiled at him, letting him know it was okay. Come here, Marcus. What is it? He came closer and sat down beside her, biting his lip before asking, When will they be able to go home? Her chest tightened at the question, one that she didn't honestly know the answer to, nor where home even was for them anymore. Whether they lived in Ukraine or where she had been happy in the Netherlands. Her smile faltered only slightly. She kept her voice light. Then all's well, which will be soon. And when it is, I'm going to take you to a beautiful place. Do you know Holland? Where you grow up? She smiled fondly. Yes, a beautiful place with green landscapes, clear streams, clean cities. I can't wait for you to see it yourself. She leaned a bit closer as if sharing a secret. Your father won't admit it, but between us, I think he'd want to visit it too. He smiled at that, if he too wanted to go to a land without trouble, but there was something in the smile that Antonia knew was forced. She painfully knew that was not the first time she made such promises, and in this awful place fate were now, perhaps reality was already coloring her young son's outlook. But if he didn't believe her, he didn't say a word. Yaroslava Dobrovich was once again watering her flowers in her garden. On one half, she'd planted chrysanthemums after her husband died at the hands of Germans. On the other half, she'd planted irises after her eldest son, Yurima, joined the largest uprising Ukraine had ever seen. The reminder of her son and husband of what her loved ones had fought for years ago, and what her son was fighting for now. At the moment, Yaroslava began to wonder if her son was doing fine. She hadn't heard anything from him for the past 2 or even 3 months, which caused worrisome thoughts to enter his mind, but she somehow managed to put them aside. Just then, she heard footsteps behind her. Hold on, Petro. Let me finish watering these flowers, she said, thinking it was the mailman as usual. Surprisingly, there was no response from a usually talkative person. God, Petro, can't you hear... Hello, Mom. There stood her son, Yurima, with a mustache and a scar on his face, holding a basket filled with various food items, tomatoes, cucumbers, bread, and more. I thought it would be a good idea to bring some food here. He spoke in a calm yet somewhat awkward tone. Before he could say another word, Yaroslava came running to him, tears of joy streaming down her face. She hugged him like she never hugged anyone else. Let's do a nationwide census. Between the occupation, the war, and the ongoing reconstruction, Ukraine has lost untold lives. Beyond the moral ramifications, the practical result of this is that rebuilding will be an arduous and difficult process. In order to make ourselves truly communist states, we need every set of hands we can get, and we simply don't know how many are at our disposal. Records have been burned, graves lay unmarked, and hundreds of thousands of soldiers of uncertain MI status. We will set to work taking stock, figuring out just how many we have lost, and the help the living can lend to the cause. On top of that, there's a help us organize our state, and even have the moral benefit the morale benefit, rather, of bringing closure or even union to the families of the dead and missing. They're starting to be fortified over here, though. I mean, I can maybe see this going into a, there we go, Central Europe. The checks have been mated. That sounds a little unfortunate, that way I said that. Oh, Jesus. TOS, Jesus. At Chomsky's request, provisional data from the fastest reporting of Ukrainian census districts were forwarded to him. The information was sorely needed. The government was effectively grouping around him blindly without a clue of the true state of the country. Even such a basic statistic as the number of people in the country evaded them on the loosest estimates. But the arrival of census data brought no relief. Things were far worse than they imagined. Famine, war, and disease had torn the Ukrainian population to ribbons. Standards of living had regressed to those of the Tsar's times. National income and wealth had collapsed. Property damage was extensive and would probably take decades to restore entirely. Submissive and predictable checks. Yeah. Some rural areas had all but returned to pre-industrial life, with agricultural capital almost non-existent, and the urban manufacturing base was not exactly about to make up the shortfall anytime soon. This posed the largest problem. Ukraine needed food, both for its people and for export. Once the extent of this disaster had been confirmed, Chomsky decided that it was pointless to wait for the rest of the data to come in. The government had to act now, and act decisively. Hordes of party cadres would need to be dispatched throughout the country to salvage what they could in terms of agricultural equipment, fertilizers, and other necessities. If Ukraine's long-suffering agricultural sector was to be saved, drastic measures would need to be taken. No one can live without food. Well, the rolling tide. Roll tide. Those traitors and reactionaries are nothing if not stubborn. They refuse to accept their defeat even at the end of a bayonet, remain in the hills, mountains, forests, and fields, to take advantage of the lawless lands, to hold on tight to their rebel fiefdoms, or simply live like glorified bandits as they had long before the war. Luckily, we are equipped for this. With our guns, bombs, tanks, and revolutionary will, we'll root out these dangerous relics as the war is past. Our bases in the Donbass will be of particular use with those qualities in spades. Our mighty army will roll west by foot, truck, or tank and reclaim our nation. Well, there we go. Free Britain is winning. I'm curious when the Germans can intervene. Because I know... I will watch them all die again tomorrow. DeLeo found himself writing a speech he not managed in years. It was Halnia's idea. Take a chair out to the fields, find a change of scenery from there, increasingly decrepit above. It sounded ludicrous to him. Nothing seemed more mundane than the freshly harvested field and empty expanse that spread in every direction. It was capturing something for him. Here he could see nothing and yet everything. His home, his fields, and even in the far distance his town. Thinking back, it struck Danilo as a great metaphor. Was not what Ukraine had become? A great field harvested into oblivion. He stopped himself. The field was not destroyed. Oh, Jesus. Yeah, these railroads are nuts. Thank you for pointing that out, Kev. Someone dropped a pile of shoelaces. True. He stopped himself. The field was not destroyed. Certainly, years of German demands left it over-harvested, hobbled by its status of monoculture and the constant need for ramping production. If this land was arable still, next year, should Alina harvest last another year, they would go another harvest and see a field of grain once more. Perhaps a more optimistic metaphor for Ukraine, yes, but fatalistic at its core. The field was built for harvesting. Danilo had to pray that Ukraine was not the same. As I have done, as I will do, as always seems to come. Is this all that I'm good for? Well, no, Ukraine isn't good for much more other than lapsing GDP. Evidently. goes Jackie. No, Johnny. Jackie's the wife. I hope she wasn't killed either. That would be horrible. Let's liberate Galicia. It's likely they won't accept. Make preparations. To the front, comrades. The perfidious Polish rump state and its reactionary arrogance has refused to return our rightful territory of Galicia, but we will not abandon our fellow Ukrainians to their jackboots. The Red Army is being mobilized to the borders of the occupied territories. We will give the Poles one last chance to accept our demands and return was rightfully ours. Should they remain defiant, we will reclaim Galicia by force. Get some land that actually has GDP growth. Am I right? Fort of Port-au-Prince. How did that turn out? The Socialist Republic of Haiti. I mean... yeah. Shumsky would have been happier if he and the Politburo could meet under more comfortable circumstances. But matters of national integrity were of the utmost importance. Every man in the room were aware of a tragedy of 21, when Poland stole Galicia from the nation, separating Ukrainian families from their homelands. There were those who were apprehensive on the matter, not because they believed Galicia belonged to Poland, but because of the combined circumstances of returning Germany and their own war-weary status. Some had secretly hoped for an alliance, one never to happen with reactionary home army control. These small protests continued, with the largest topic of debate amongst them being that Ukraine simply could not bear another war. Even if they could take on the Polish, two conflicts in such quick succession could stretch a virgin nation to the breaking point. Finally, Roman Wodzolski spoke to put an end to the dovish sentiment espousing Politburo. I was born and bred in Galicia, when it was stolen by the reactionaries. I continued my struggle in the Communist Party of Western Ukraine. Only Germany put a temporary halt to my efforts to liberate the province. I can never forgive myself for the rest of this room. We passed up this chance to reclaim what was ours. I want to go to the grave knowing we did the right thing. The world's silence all dissent from the opinion, but to appease those doves, it was decided Poland would be given an ultimatum to surrender Galicia before more martial actions would take place. The proposal was passed unanimously as the meeting was adjourned. Shumsky left with a pessimistic feeling. The Poles were too stubborn to realize they were far better equipped to defend Galicia. He would just have to wait and see. But Poland confessed to the crimes of 21. I guess we'll have to wait until the next video to find out. Are we the baddies? We might be. I'm gonna leave the video here, gang. Thanks so much for watching. Like, dislike if you didn't. Leave any comments or feedback down in the comment section below. I read all the comments get, and I appreciate any feedback you might have for me. Check out my various links down in the description box below. I think you all know the deal by now. I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.